mind blowing, and you're going through all the ads you might have missed and the subtractions. I'm knee deep in football research right now, and I'm ready to go. Which leads us into our next segment when we come back. The 5 teams in college football, Patty and myself, are most looking forward to watching. I think it's time to understand this is the potential to be a really wacky college football season, and I'll lay out all the storylines next, and me and Pat will rank who we're most excited to check out and watch. It is BetQL's 5-star weekend. He's Pat Boyle. I'm Sean Morash. Check us out, twitch.tv/BetQL. The whole crew, Kenny, Amir, freaking Dan, and my barking dogs along for the ride. BetQL's 5-star weekend, dingbat bets, Sunday scaries, Patty's got a beef bet, all of that stuff still to come. When you hear that music crank up, I'll run out of gas and I'll finally hit a post like a professional. It's BetQL's 5-star weekend for the 15th time in the last minute. I will name the show. We will see you when we come right back.
BetQL 5-star weekend will be back on the BetQL network. Presented by BetMGM. Welcome back to BetQL 5-Star Weekend on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
BetQL's 5-Star Weekend, presented by BetMGM. So here we are. It's the weekend of August 10th, 11th here. We're having a grand old time, Patty Boyle and myself. You close your eyes, you get through this week of work. Next weekend, you're doing whatever you're doing. Me, I'm going to a Kenny Chesney, Zach Brown concert. Holla! You're going to get to the following weekend after that. And that following weekend is week 0 in college football. You then become with a little taste, ooh, that smells good. Then you get to week 1 of college football, and it's Labor Day weekend. And before you know it, you're having pumpkin beers, and you're trying to figure out who the teams are going to make in the expanded college football playoff, because the season is going to go by like that. We haven't done a lot of college football here on BetQL's 5-Star Weekend, but if there is a time to do it, I think 2 weeks out from week 0 would be that, Pat Boy. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, I agree.
I agree, too. Okay, listen, so that's good. We're all in agreement. Keep in mind for the casual gamblers, there's a couple key components to college football you need to remember. Number 1, expanded playoff. So you're going to have more teams, more juiced up in later regular season games if they know they're not just ending up at the Tax Slayer Bowl. You know what I mean? Trying to play their hearts out for the end, trying to catch one of those end college football spots. Number 2, teams like USC and UCLA now in the Big Ten. Oklahoma and Texas are in the SEC. All that stuff that we've talked about the last couple of years is actually happening this year. And as a result, divisions going by the wayside. You're not going to have divisions in the SEC. It's just going 1 through however the heck many teams are left in the SEC. I have to recalibrate. But this is going to be, and name, image, like this is now full-fledged couple years in. This is going to be a different feel in a different college football season. Oh, and did I mention the national champion Michigan Wolverines don't have their coach, Jim Harbaugh, anymore? Oh, did I mention that Nick Saban is not coaching at Alabama anymore? He is bowed out. The college football world is turned upside down, and this will be as different a feeling season as we have had. Whether that's good or whether that's bad, that's TBD. But I think the time has come to, with all of that, rank, Pat, the 5 teams we're most looking forward to in college football here. Hello?
Yes.
Do we get it? Oh, wow, Pat. I man a few words today. All right. And I'm just going to warn everybody. I'm in a home studio today. Hold on. All right. I'm not going to. Yeah.
That was a tough alley-oop. That was a tough lob there. I would have had to lean back to really cock that one and throw it down.
Why? I was just telling you, excited to go here. I was trying. Did I miss anything?
No, I'm pumped up, man. I'm chomping at the bit here to give you my top 5 college football teams that I'm excited to watch this year. I think I was looking at the rundown. I think my list is better than your list.
That's fine. By the way, it's not about who's better. It's about supplying content to a wonderful audience there. I pride myself on transparency, by the way, so I want to get this out of the way. Anybody who's listened to the full 3 hours podcast form or anything, I do this show from a home studio. I'm not going to pretend I'm in the regular studios. If that's a turnoff to you, I apologize. Today is my sister's baby shower, and my wife, for some reason, organized everything and has everything. So I do feel like in the next half an hour, there might be some chaotic leaving. I've told her, shut the bleep up in so many nice words, and to keep the dogs down and whatever. But I think she's loading the car and unloading the car. So if you hear my dogs bark, just know they suck, and my wife could be doing a better job. Okay? I love you all. Now, let's rank 1 through 5 our most intriguing or the teams we're most looking forward to in college football. Pat, can I start? Yes. We'll go 5 for 5.
You can start.
All right. I'm starting with LSU. Low win total, 9.5. Interesting questions all over the place, clearly. I mean, you lose 2 of your big-time wide receivers. This was an offense. Obviously, you lose Jaden Daniels. This was an offense that hummed along last year. But the truth is, as we continue to stir and move forward and move onward, this is, as Brian Kelly fingerprinted a team as LSU has had since he's arrived there. And I like what he did with the Irish, and I trust whatever he's done here. Now, people are up and down on Garrett Nussmeier, their new quarterback, their new quarterback. I think that there's still going to be something there. I think this offense is still going to hum. I know we're not really giving picks here, just teams to watch. I will be on the over. Now, here's the deal. No more SEC West for them. They could have had a chance to capitalize on the first non-Nick Saban year at Alabama, But to me, we've seen LSU teams in the past kind of jump up and have that one kind of overly surprise year. I think that you could be primed for that with LSU this year. And I'm going to trust Kelly getting the job done with everybody's brought in. It's a question of their young defensive backs back there being able to slow up in a tough conference. But I think LSU is going to be a fun little watch this year that teams are that bettors and fans alike are a little more negative on, where I think they're going to surprise and be a little more positive on, Pat.
Okay. All right. And hey, throwing out Brian. I mean, dude, any team that Brian Kelly is the coach of is a team that is going to be fun to watch, especially with what they've been able to produce in years past. Obviously, no Jaden Daniels, obviously, no Malik Neighbors, but exciting nonetheless. For better or for worse, I got Colorado at number 5 as a team where, again,
I like it.
The quote-unquote historic start they got off to last year and everybody beating the drum for Deion Sanders. I mean, again, they beat Nebraska and they barely beat Colorado State. We're wondering if this team, or some people were wondering if this team was going to be good enough to make the college football playoff. And then, you want to talk about an absolute disaster to end the season when they got steamrolled by Oregon and a couple of other teams that were not even in the stratosphere of Oregon. So Deion Sanders is pumping his chest that he's got that he's revamped. Again, that he's gotten he's cut the fat off the crust off the fat off the crust off of a crap sandwich, and that you're going to have some stars coming back. Travis Hunter, who again, him getting hurt last year was the worst thing that could have happened for them. His Deion's son, Shedeur Sanders, and a couple of other big-time players. But, again, Shiloh Sanders, obviously his other kid. But this offensive line, which was just as bad as the defense last year, is going to have to take a massive step forward this year. Jordan Seaton, by the way, who was one of their 5-star true freshman tackles. Be exciting to watch how good he is, because if Shedeur Sanders isn't getting protection, I don't care who they're playing. And they're going to get a nice little cupcake win probably week 1 against North Dakota State, but then you get a real great matchup in Nebraska in week 2, or actually week whatever that would actually be, week 1, September 7th. You get a rematch of Colorado State. So before they actually play some legit football teams, like a Utah later in the year, like a Kansas later in the year, even like Baylor, who's going to be a big test for them. I'm excited to see just how much Deion Sanders has revamped this team here. And look, if they're good, you're going to get people once again saying, "Oh, look what Deion Sanders has done. Could they get 9 wins? Could they get 10 wins? Could they sneak in the college football playoff?" Or if they're getting their ass kicked in week 4, it's going to be let's all enjoy, let's all revel in the misery that is Deion Sanders in Colorado.
Yeah, put a pin, and Kenny, be careful in our chat. Put a pin in the Deion and Colorado comments, because that is going to be part of my hot takes and hot cakes to start hour number 3. But I'm with you. I thought about putting them in the top 5, and look, it's going to be juiced no matter what. All of those games, at least early season, are going to be juiced, and who knows? Maybe they do make a run to a college football playoff that is more expansive. Number 4 for me is USC. And look, very disappointing year where it felt like Caleb Williams was doing everything. Now they're pivoting over and playing here into the Big Ten. I mean, it's such a crazy schedule for them that, like, Rutgers is going to go to them on a Friday night and play a game at 11 p.m. Eastern. This is going to be wild to see. And what Lincoln Riley, this is kind of a pretty big year. You didn't capitalize and go play playoff games with Caleb Williams as your quarterback, and you've been basically granted the quarterback whisperer. Miller Moss is going to be their quarterback. Now, he played well in the bowl game. Can Lincoln Riley get the most of him? Or Jaden Mayava, the coach for, I don't even know if I'm saying his last name right, but he played at UNLV, and he kind of has the feel, by all accounts, of a quarterback that Lincoln Riley can groom. I'm worried about USC this year, and I'm worried about Lincoln Riley. I think that's a sneaky firing situation if he has a really bad year, and, the West Coast football just gets bullied by a bunch of Midwestern boys over there. I kind of think down year for USC, but I'm interested to watch because it could get ugly, and it could lead to Lincoln Riley being out when he was such a prized possession a little while ago. Or maybe this is just what the doctor ordered, and maybe Caleb Williams was, just weird enough that it was about him and it wasn't about what Lincoln Riley was doing with the system. I think you're going to learn a lot about Lincoln Riley this year coaching USC in the Big Ten, Pat.
How about that? Number 4
How about
for me.
that?
How about that? You like that?
By the way, for the audience, when Pat Boyle gives you how about that, that's radio code for I got nothing to add here. Let me just get to mine.
True. True. I feel like I usually go longer than I should, and I want to try to tighten up my
You're
end of the
right.
bar. I want to give you
You're
more time.
right. Go for it.
Number 4 for me, Nebraska. Again, that September 7th matchup, Colorado Nebraska, is kind of going to set the tone for how good both of those teams really are, or how bad one of those teams really is. And Matty Rule, interesting to see where it feels like he gets fired this year if they stink. But man, if there's ever a quarterback to be really excited about and beat the drum before he even takes a snap in college football, Dylan Raiola, 5-star quarterback, kid that decommitted from Georgia to go to Nebraska. And he literally is a carbon spitting image, carbon copy of what Patrick Mahomes looks like, to the point where he's dressing up as Mahomes kind of like as a joke, but like he literally looks just like Patrick Mahomes in some of these pictures. So if he even plays, even if it has a shred of the talent that Patrick Mahomes has, it'll be interesting. It'll be fun to watch Nebraska this year in the Big Ten as a team that, again, with this kid as a freshman, they could win 7 games. Look out. The Huskers may be returning to prominence with Matty freaking Rule, who I feel like we kind of, maybe proclaim DOA as a head coach, college football or NFL. That game against Colorado, I cannot wait to watch. And then I'm excited to see how Dylan Raiola stacks up against some of the best defenses in the Big Ten, how he does on the road at Ohio State, how he does at home against UCLA, how he does on the road against USC, the team you just mentioned, and then finishing the last game of the year on the road at Iowa, a team that never can score any freaking points, but always has a good defense. I'm excited mostly about Dylan Raiola, but of course now I'm going to throw him in the company with his entire team, Nebraska and Matty Rule.
Let me Nebraska you a question. Do you know who's number 3 for me? It's Alabama. Kalen DeBoer coaching this team now. Can he turn Jalen Milroe into what Michael Penix was for Kalen DeBoer at not 1 but 2 stops? And DeBoer me with the questions about whether Kalen DeBoer can run a defense the way Nick Saban can. Of course he cannot, but this could be a much more offensive-minded Alabama football team. I do think, though, picking Alabama to just go on some kind of run with, God bless you, Pat, with 1 loss or something, with road games at Tennessee and LSU, and of course they have the big boy matchup versus Georgia, there will be a little couple slip-ups here, but I still think the talent pool hasn't abandoned ship enough to not assume Alabama and Kalen DeBoer should be in the playoff. But the question is, we all just assumed Alabama dominance year in and year out. What will that look like? Or does Kalen DeBoer find it a little more difficult in the SEC, and they are a surprise downturn 8-5 type of team? I'm very interested in what's next for the Nick Saban-less Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yeah, post Saban era, Kalen DeBoer is a guy who has won everywhere. He's got like a freaking 992 career winning percentage.
Right.
Now he's going to Bama with the SEC, with Oklahoma and Texas joining, and Georgia, who's going to be expected to win another college football national championship. Teams like Ole Miss, spoiler alert, look out for them on this list here. Number 3 for me is another coach that all of a sudden is a winner, no matter what team he's coaching, what school he's coaching, and a team that is making the exodus from the Pac-12, which is now the Pac-2, to the Big Ten. There are certain schools that transcend whatever conference they're in. Right? Like, oh, this team was only this successful because they're in the Pac-12 where nobody plays defense. Oh, this school was only successful in the Big 12 because nobody plays defense. I think this school is successful because they have a head coach that knows how to win. They've got the best uniforms year in and year out. And now excited to watch them go up against the big boys, Ohio State, go up against the big boys, Washington, now is in their conference again, but in the Big Ten, go up against UCLA. And really flex their muscles against some of the best defenses in the country. I can't wait to watch what Dan Lanning does with Oregon now in the Big Ten here. And they've added Dylan Gabriel as their quarterback, who's probably the Heisman favorite. I haven't checked the odds in the last couple of days, but look out for names like Tez Johnson and Evan Stewart. Those are going to be the guys that he's lighting up the scoreboard with. And then on defense, they got Jabbar Muhammad in as a transfer. I think this Oregon team makes the college football playoff. I think Dan Lanning is a winner. I'm excited to watch Dylan Gabriel now in his last year in college football as the head of the Ducks.
I got to tell you, Pat, that quacks me up, but I'm happy to see them standing there in that spot. Okay, we're going to save our top 2. Say
Come on.
something funny, Patty. We're going to save our top two for when we come back as we kind of give you the teams to watch. And we're hoping that this exercise is a casual or degenerate gambler kind of gives you some name reminders, a little research into what you should be doing. And because, by the way, is there a more flying blind moment than when you want to jump in and bet week 1 of college football and go, who do I like with the spread? What's going on? Oh, yeah, what happened here?
That sounds ridiculous.
All right, we're Oregon, but we'll be back next with our top 2 teams to watch in the college football season.
BetQL 5-Star Weekend will be back on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM. Welcome back to BetQL 5-Star Weekend on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
BetQL's 5-Star Weekend. Sean Morash, Pat Boyle. If you're listening and want to see our pretty faces, no worries. You can just go to Twitch. Twitch.tv/BetQL, where you see me. And what's a slightly puffy face? I've had like 6 days worth of chicken parm. So hopefully that's coming down a little bit. And you can see Pat Boyle in his Mrs. Doubtfire glasses, which I think have become a big hit around radio circles. All right, we've been breaking down college football and looking ahead to the season. Patty and I ranking our top 5 teams we're most excited to watch, most excited to bet on. Patty has Colorado, Nebraska, and Oregon, 5, 4, and 3. I have LSU, USC, and Alabama. Touchdown, Alabama. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. You know when you get that little tickle? Guys listening, I'm sorry, females, if you're listening, but I can only relate this to guys. That little tickle where all of a sudden, everything just feels right. You know what I'm talking about? A little, oh, okay. Yeah, something feels a little different. I'm excited.
You might want to get yourself checked out for that.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there. I'm excited. Nobody's been looking more forward to blindly betting on Miami and Florida at 3:30 on Labor Day Saturday, quite like me. So we continue that feeling with college football here. A couple weeks out now. All right, Pat, let's get to our top 2, and then we'll kind of go over the AP top 10 right now, see if there's anything we missed. Number 2 for me. Wow. So full disclosure, we're going to name 4 teams and not 2 teams where we're crossed over. Me and Pat have a completely different top 2. Pat's number 1, by the way, should not be a big spoiler. You'll be able to figure it out. Number 2 for me is Georgia. And my theme here as I get to my top 2 teams is going to tie into the NFL and non-college football fan, and hopefully the college football fan as well. I think the 2 teams I'm going to give you have the 2 entering the season sexiest quarterback prospects and what may or may not be a down quarterback class. And Kirby Smart's still there at Georgia. Carson Beck has high expectations, even with a beautiful girlfriend too, by the way. Cowabunga. Carson Beck and what he could do for a Georgia team that's usually very defensive heavy. You know they're going to continue to be a powerhouse. And doesn't it just feel like Georgia licking their chops now post Nick Saban, where they just feel like they're ready to rule the SEC in an expanded SEC? So I'm more interested in the Carson Beck storyline, and I want to see how dominant Georgia could be now, how expansive the SEC has gotten, Patrick.
Yeah, number 2 for me, another SEC team that is getting a whole lot of love here in this preseason. The Kiff man, Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss running Rebels. Or maybe they just...
You got to be kiffing me.
Yeah. I don't know if they're running as much as they are just Rebels. They're kind of, they walk. They're walking Rebels now. They used to be the running Rebels, like synonymously known around college football. Now I always just see Ole Miss Rebels. But Lane Kiffin, the Kiff dog, man, incredible job, top-ranked transfer class, bringing in a beefy defensive line. Walter Nolan from Texas A&M, Princely Umanmielen from Florida. All I'm seeing is Ole Miss has the best offensive defensive line combo in college football, and that is why they're going to be ranked top 10. That is why they might even sniff the top 5. And then Jackson Dart, can he take over? And can he lead a team that's expected to be in the college football playoff this year? Man, Lane Kiffin's come a long way, bro. It's been a very circuitous route here for him. They had a great start to last year, and now can Ole Miss finally put it all together, who, by the way, they're not really going to even have a test until I guess you can call Kentucky at home a test on September 28th. They got a couple cupcakes to start the year. But, man, in Death Valley, October 12th, at LSU, then home against Oklahoma, then at Arkansas, then home against Georgia. What a 4-game gauntlet stretch. That is either going to make or that is going to break Ole Miss coming off that Peach Bowl win against Penn State. They finished number 9 in the country. They're there again. They're going to be in the college football playoff, but they've got higher expectations than that. This is a team that probably you're looking at should be in the Final Four in the college football playoff this year. Let's be honest about it. And we're going to see if that offensive defensive line is as good as advertised. But I'm excited to watch if Lane Kiffin's squad can put it all together.
Stay in your lane, Pat. Stay in your lane. Hotty toddy. All right. Number 1 for me. What a cheesy show. Number 1 for
you. Speak for yourself.
No, you. I never did this many with Chris Mack. You're a cheese. You're a cheese doodle.
No, you're a
By the way,
pig. You can't help yourself.
crunchy or puffy?
Every
Crunchy or puffy?
every sentence has to be a pun. Crunchy or puffy? What? Just in general, or like what are we talking about?
Cheese doodles.
Puffy.
You know, me too. Me too. The crunchy does nothing for me because to me, it's about the texture, not like I don't need the cheese dust taste. The texture of a puffy cheese doodle, much better.
A nice aerated cheese doodle with those those
Oh,
perfect air pockets. Oh man, set your
you ever
taste on fire.
you ever eat a puffy cheese doodle fresh out like the ocean, lake water, or the pool, and like your hand still has a little water on it, and then the first part of the cheese doodle tastes that perfect aerated, and the next part's like slightly soggy, but yet still good for some reason.
That might be something that's specific to you. I don't know how many times I get out of a lake and then pop a cheese doodle in my mouth, but
All right, the pool. I was trying to relate to everybody. Not everybody has a pool. Not everybody lives on the shores in this country. My point is wet fingers on a cheese doodle where you get in two different textures. The non-wet texture and then the wet texture. But the wet texture you would think is really gross, but then it kind of helps make it and it gives you that summery feel. You know what I mean? You only get a wet cheese doodle 3 months a year in most parts in the country.
talking about my fingers hurt. Yeah, well now your back's gonna hurt because you just pulled landscaping duty. All right, let's get to our number ones.
Oh, wow. Pat's really taking lead here. Number one. Oh, man. Number one, I'm going with Dr. Quinn, college football playoff doctor. Quinn Ewers and Texas entering the SEC. And I got to be fair, that was a terrible pun. But in all seriousness, Texas finally makes a college football playoff last year, but now they put their big boy pants on, right? They go play in the SEC. And this is why this is number one for me more than anything else. If Texas was still playing in the old Big 12 this year, I personally, after everything I saw last year, I would be picking them to win a national championship because I think they would get through unscathed in the old school Big 12 this year. And I think Quinn Ewers is really that good. I mean, think about all the hype around Arch Manning, and he continues to hold him off. And I think Quinn Ewers will ultimately be the number one pick in the NFL draft coming up this season. And I think that people are just going to trip all over themselves and fall in love with him. However, it could go the other way. You could quickly find out for a Quinn Ewers in what is the most important year of his life to prove his worthiness, stacking up against SEC defenses week in and week out. Maybe they do take a step back and maybe they get exposed and they lose 3-4 games, something like that, playing an SEC schedule where they would have probably gone undefeated in a Big 12 schedule and could have found a way to, figure it out because at that point it's an easier road for them to a national championship. This is going to be difficult for them. But if they can handle the slings and arrows that come their way, you could right away see Texas arrive in their first year in the SEC and go toe-to-toe with Georgia as the best teams in that conference. So it could be a very feast or famine situation, but either way, it's number one for me because I don't know which way it will go, honestly. And I think the quarterback is a big part of that. And it's kind of Quinn Ewers playing the SEC every week, trying to fight to be the number one overall pick. That is reality TV at its finest football-wise. I'm in on Texas this year, Pat.
Yeah, Quinn to win a national championship. Ewers, that sounds like a Longhorn shot. How about that? Look what you've
That
made
was
me
good,
become.
man.
Look what you've made me
That was
become.
good.
No, number
That
one
was
for
good.
me.
By the
Go ahead.
way, you burnt me there. Orange, you glad you did it?
Jeez. Number one most exciting team for me to watch this year, and I'll admit, there's as many people that hate them as people that love them, but they're always an exciting watch. America's team. Hey, Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, most exciting team. This is expected to be a college football team now every single year. Now that this college football playoff has been expanded to 12 teams, even though Notre Dame can't get a top 4 seed because they're not in a Power 4 conference. Even if they go 12-0 this year, they're going to be the number 5, but I expect them to be number 5 no matter what here, and I expect them to kick some ass in the first week of the season on the road against Texas A&M and the big scary 12th man. Oh, the big bad 12th man. I'm so scared of the crowd that calls himself 12th man. Come on, get real. Marcus Freeman, it's put up or shut up time here, year 3. There's no more clock mismanagement. There's no more not having enough guys on the field against Ohio State. He better learn all the intricacies and nuances and little things that make or break teams, that win or lose games here in year 3. So it's going to be exciting to watch. And Riley Leonard now coming over from Duke, who had a second surgery all of a sudden on that ankle that he got ripped up against Notre Dame and then got his season ended against last year against Louisville. Going to be excited to see if Riley Leonard can transform this offense the way that Sam Hartman couldn't, or at least take Notre Dame over the top last year. Irish always have a great offensive and defensive line. They've lost their starting left tackle, though, Charles Jagusa, for the season. So a little adversity right out of the gate for Notre Dame. And week 1 against A&M is going to set the precedent for how people think this team is going to do. They win that game, they're probably going to be 11-0 going up against USC the final week of the season. They lose that game, and then it's all right, one more loss. And Notre Dame, even with 2 losses, probably ain't getting into the college football playoff. So 10-3 last year, winning the Sun Bowl, 9-4 in year 1 under Marcus Freeman. Ain't no more room for losses against freaking Marshall. It's time to get serious here. And Notre Dame, I think, is going to have an incredible season. I think they're a college football playoff team, no doubt. And I think Riley Leonard establishes himself as a first-round draft pick after this season. The Irish, whether you hate them or you love them, they're the most exciting team to watch this year.
I mean, I had to exclude them because I knew you were going to go there, Pat. But either way, you're going to know a lot about the Irish in week 1, which is part of the fun of college football. You can't say that about a lot of sports. At your first game, you learn a lot. If the Irish go beat an SEC team, and granted, not one of the higher echelon ones, and in their building, like Texas A&M, I mean, it's all systems to go. And let's be real. The other reason I don't count Notre Dame in my top 5, guys, there's not 4 teams in the college football playoff anymore. And Notre Dame is still Notre Dame as a brand and an independent. It is going to take an absolute pig-like bad season for Notre Dame not to be in the college football playoff. That committee is getting Notre Dame into the games. I hear the music. I got to hit a post. My God, what did I do? I don't know. But when we come back, we covered all those teams. Hot takes, hot cakes, coming up next. Pat Boyle, Sean Morash. Let's bet. Take care, everyone.
Our weekend will be back on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
swing on Michael Penix.
Turning your faith into fortune.
Few things in the gambling world I can't wait to bet more than the Jets under right now.
While serving up hot cakes and hot takes.
If Chet Holmgren was on that team, he's probably putting up better numbers than Wemby.
It's BetQL 5-Star Weekend, presented by BetMGM.
Good morning. 1 hour down, 2 hours to play with. It's BetQL's 5-Star Weekend here. Of course, free on the Odyssey app, twitch.tv/BetQL. I'm Sean Morash. He's Pat Boyle. Only a couple more weeks until BetQL switches over to a full-fledged football season worth of programming, which is always the best. It's always the bomb diggity, as the kids say. But that would mean the end of 5-Star Weekend until next February. So, me and Pat kind of pounding sand here the rest of the summer, because sand is what some like to pound in the summer. Some like to pound other things. Some like to pound sand. Pat Boyle and I have talked a lot of college football, given away some hot takes and hot cakes as well. And we're going to continue to do so. The end of the show comes. Pat's got a beef bed. I got a Sunday scary. I just cooked up 5 legs. So picture a horse. I got 5 legs. That's exactly the kind of parlay I'm going to give you. We also have degenerate bets coming up at the end of this hour. Some dingbats, some home run prop plays as well. Shawnee's getting a little frisky this morning. Shawnee's getting frisky. Pat,
A little frisky.
a little bit, a little frisky. By the way, the Olympics come to their riveting end. Women's basketball right now leading over France in the gold medal game. Full disclosure, you know me. I tried to get into it 2 weeks ago, and I quickly pivoted and went, this is boring as anything. I don't know what happened to me at 37 years of age that I really don't care about the Olympics the way I used to care. I had a death in the family, a very hectic week, and I basically checked out of a lot of sports stuff outside of like my immediate teams that I could track a little bit. I was stunned yesterday that the men's basketball gold final was hit. I thought that would have probably been like Thursday or something. I was stunned. And I was stunned how many people were tweeting about it and into it. And can I just say this? This isn't an official hot take or hot cake, Pat. I ran this morning to go get some coffees or coffee for my wife, kids' breakfast or whatever. And I had another rival sports station on. With all due respect, can we stop acting like U.S. men's basketball players? We should include these gold medals and anything when we talk about their legacies. Like Kevin Durant's done enough in the regular season and won NBA finals. I don't think I need 4 gold medals to tell me that should be added to his legacy, or whatever Steph Curry did versus France yesterday somehow further cements his legacy as one of the all-time greats. Look,
No,
this is unlike. No, it doesn't, dude.
Yes, it does.
Everybody knew they were playing gold. A Jaylen Brown-led, if he was the best player on the U.S. men's basketball team, they would have won gold. This is a glorified all-star team running through other countries with one great player on them each. This does not enhance players' legacies. It should not either. It's a joke.
I'm not saying that we should have blown out Serbia, even with Nikola Jokic and Bogdan Bogdanovic hitting big shots. They hit 15 threes in 3 quarters. I'm not saying we shouldn't have blown out France, even with Wembanyama, and then Nick Batum and Frank Ntilikina in a starting lineup. We should have, and we didn't. And it was kind of near disaster and near, all out like pathetic embarrassment when we were down 17 against Serbia. But the fact that Steph Curry playing with Team USA for the first time at the Olympics ever, considering he skipped the pandemic Olympics, was hurt in 2016, and playing with LeBron James for the first time ever as actual teammates, not just in an all-star game, like the fact that he drills 4 threes in the final 3 minutes in France against enemy territory against France to seal a gold medal for pride and for country, for home and for country.
No,
It solidified him as the greatest
it's
shooter.
cool for him.
It's 17 threes in the last 2 games in a 40-minute game.
It's cool for him. Cool. I'm not taking away. Like, if I played in the Olympics, I would cherish that gold medal. Steph Curry is one of the most dynastic stars in NBA history. We didn't need a bunch of 3-pointers versus Nick Ntilikina here to tell me that he's an all-time great. Let's stop.
Greatest shot he's ever made in his career. The last one, the step back, the 4-3, the step back heave over 2 defenders to put the dagger in the French hearts. Best shot.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I have no idea what you're talking about. I just know that he hit some shots at the end. I didn't watch it. I didn't even know we trailed with Serbia. But this is the point. No, this is the point. Most NBA fans in America, when Steph Curry retires in 5 years, he's in the Hall of Fame, they mention any of that. We're going to be like, what happened? When did you do that? No, it's all going to be about the big moments versus the Cavs in the NBA Finals.
You're out of your mind.
Sorry, that's the truth. And I'm not in my mind. You think that when Steph Curry retires, we're going to look back at this yesterday versus France and Nick Batum and go, oh, my God, remember where you were on that Saturday in August when Steph Curry had a step back and he was playing with LeBron James? What are you kidding me, Pat? You're a better sports fan than that.
Absolutely, dude. The dream team of 92 still gets talked about like on a moment.
Because it was the first time pros were in the NBA. We're in the freaking Olympics. That's why.
Yeah,
it a million
doesn't
times.
Matter. Doesn't matter. Basketball, the Olympics every 4 years. We're expected to win gold. We're expected to run away with gold. And if we don't run away with gold, it's a disaster. So the fact that it almost happened and then Curry saved the day and hit 9 threes against
Serbia. No, that I agree with. You get
France.
remembered. You get remembered like Carmelo Anthony if you're on the team that doesn't win gold. You don't get remembered for winning gold. I'm sorry. And again, Steph Curry owes nobody an apology. But even Steph Curry, come on. That's going to be the big check mark on his legacy. Get lost. I didn't even see a second of it. Won't go back. I'll never see a clip of that shot. I promise you, I will live my entire life and I will die one day and I will have never seen a video of that shot, whatever you're talking about. So don't tell me it matters on his legacy.
We haven't even gotten hot takes and hot cakes. That might be the worst take I've ever heard you give, that nobody's going to remember this Steph Curry shot that he hit just because you didn't watch it? Just because you didn't watch it.
A summer Saturday afternoon, you think most Americans are sitting down watching that shot? Are you kidding me?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
They were not.
All that social media was going on about yesterday. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Joe's McFly and Matt Moore from HP Basketball tweeting about it does not mean all of social media was going nuts about it. All right? I was watching a Yankee doubleheader from the pool. If that game took place next to my pool, I'd get out and draw the blinds, okay? Nobody cared.
Stop with that stupid freaking quote, dude. His iconic goodnight celebration, that picture running down the sideline like this, and the video, the clip of the shot, I guarantee you is going to go down in the annals of NBA, of basketball history.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You guys are living too much in the moment. You guys are living too much in the moment. Steph Curry's hit 34 bigger shots than that. Okay, Steph Curry's hit 34, and I'm being minimum there, 34 bigger shots than that. You said it yourself, a team with Frank Ntilikina. Basically, you just told me that, hey, when Steph Curry hits a big shot versus the Brooklyn Nets, because that's basically the lineup France ran out there, or the San Antonio Spurs in February, that's one of his best shots of all time. I mean, come on.
Again, I'm saying that we should have dominated.
I guess you get excited for the in-season tournament, too.
Yeah, you're impossible. Just because France and Serbia on paper we should have dominated, we didn't. Doesn't take away the moment and doesn't take away the weight of that shot that he made. It's going to go down as one of the best shots ever, and it's the biggest shot of his career.
This is not getting political, but you sound like Biden trying to debate Trump here. You are in a blender. You are absolutely in a blender. I've got you backed in a corner. Okay, what's your golf score?
I'm a 6 handicap.
Okay, yeah. All right, let's get to some hot takes and hot cakes.
Good morning, people. Boy, do I need some hot takes and hot cakes. Pat Boyle and Sean Marash, give it to them.
All right, I'm going to get to stuff people actually were watching yesterday, Major League Baseball. The Guardians finally won a game versus the Twins yesterday to get back to a 2.5-game lead in the division. But boy, have they struggled a little bit as the Minnesota Twinkies have gotten hot. Why am I talking Twins and Guardians here? Well, we just wasted your time talking about a U.S. men's basketball game that half of you didn't care about. So why might as well talk about more things you don't care about. Plus 125 for the Twins to win the division. The Guardians had cruised along all season. And Pat laid out, I thought really eloquently, his best take of the show so far, why he's on the Mariners winning the World Series, or at least representing the American League in the World Series. I mean, on the Twins having a hot little last 2 months as the Guardians run out of gas here to win the Central. Guardians minus money right now to win the AL Central. I'm a believer, and what I think the Twins will get bounced pretty quickly from the playoffs, but I'm a believer in the Twins coming back at plus money right now, plus 125 to win the AL Central. My hot cake to start hour number 2, Pat.
I just love that segment, that little intro to your hot cake there. I don't mind the bet. I like the bet. Plus money. And we've seen a very topsy-turvy roller coaster ride for basically all the contenders in baseball so far this year. So I like that. Twins at plus money to win the Central. And then just to get spanked by the Yanks in the playoffs. Sure. But I love that the little intro you gave there. While half of you were watching a game nobody cares about. Most people were watching Major League Baseball. I mean, it's one of the most ridiculous takes I've ever heard. You discounting the gold medal, you discounting Steph Curry's performance, all because you didn't see it. Because you didn't see it, and that's fine.
Nobody saw it.
You missed out on an
It's not
all-time
going to rate
sport.
well.
You missed out on
Not
an
gonna rate well.
all-time sports moment, and you're upset. It's okay. I understand. I got a football take for you. I was going to have a basketball take for you, but I feel like that kind of covered it. Maybe we'll revisit it at some point in the show. But to start the top of the hour here, while we've got the beautiful people of North America listening, either on their local affiliate or on the Odyssey app here, or if you're watching us on twitch.tv/BetQL, I'm going to give you a little football prediction here. I'm going to give you a hot take. I think there's a legitimate chance, and I'm going to make a prediction that it happens. Nick Sirianni gets fired mid-season, and it ends up being the best thing for Philly. Right? Now that we're getting the
okay.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of knew that that he lost the locker room last year, right? When we're talking about he's taking them to bowling for team bonding, and the collection of stiffs that he had calling the defense, as well as Brian Johnson on offense. They fire the coordinators. They bring in Vic Fangio. They bring in Kellen Moore as the OC, and again, we kind of knew, but it became more obvious and more obvious towards the end of the season, and even now. What does Nick Sirianni do? What does he do for this team? Like, what do you do, bro? What do you
actually do?
You don't do anything. You don't do anything. You don't call the plays on offense. You don't call the plays on defense. Your main responsibility is keeping the locker room together. You couldn't do that. So what's the next most important thing for a head coach? Relationship with the quarterback. And now it's all out there for the world to see that Jalen Hurts basically doesn't respect him. Doesn't have any respect for his football IQ. That they've got a strained and fractured relationship. That Nick Sirianni inserted himself way too many times last year in the offensive meetings. That Nick Sirianni is a guy that, sure, maybe he can handle the timeouts. Sure, maybe he knows when to punt the ball or to go for it. Or maybe he doesn't because maybe the analytics, he just goes off of the percentages. Should I go for it? What do the analytics tell me here? But Nick Sirianni is a guy, again, a head coach, very similar to Robert Saleh. Doesn't call the plays on offense, doesn't call the plays on defense, and has now tethered himself to his quarterback for any chance he has of keeping his job this year for a team that went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago and then last year starts 10-1 and Nick Sirianni's pumping his chest, screaming in the tunnel of Arrowhead, screaming at Chiefs fans, and then they go and they, wet down their leg in the final 6 weeks of the regular season and get blown out by Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. And a broken, fractured team with a head coach that has a broken relationship with his quarterback. They get off to a slow start again this year. Howie Roseman's got no choice but to fire Nick Sirianni because he'll have totally lost the locker room again. He has already lost the trust of his quarterback. So, we know that Jalen Hurts doesn't like Nick Sirianni, doesn't respect him. So they could try to mend that relationship, quote unquote, to try to, make sure that there's not negative headlines to start the year, but the play on the field matters. And if it's broken in regards to the head coach and the rest of the team, Howie Roseman's got to make a change. And this schedule, they're going to go through a little 4-week gauntlet stretch of a schedule, or 3-week stretch of a schedule. But would you be stunned if the Packers beat them in Brazil? Tough situation, tough environment. I wouldn't. So there's a loss right there. And then between the Buccaneers and the Browns, I can see them losing one of those games. Sure, I'll give them wins against the Falcons and the Saints here. So let's put the Eagles at 3-2 through 5 weeks. How about put them at 4-2 because they're going to beat the Giants because they always do. Sorry, Shawnee. It's true. And then they play. Here's a stretch where I think cost Nick Sirianni his job. Bengals on the road, Jaguars at home, Cowboys on the road. Right there. That 3-game stretch. And then the Commanders at home, which, by the way, I always play them tough. But if the Eagles at one point in the season are 4-5 or, God forbid, 3-6, Howie Roseman's got to make a change. I can see Nick Sirianni getting fired mid-season. And you know who should be the first guy you call up? Who, is like a consultant or whatever with the Cleveland Browns right now. But if they, he talks to the Cleveland Browns owner and say, hey, I got a job offer to be the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Can I take that? They would probably let him. You call up Mike Vrabel and you say, hey, Mike, save this season for us, please. And if you get us to the playoffs, you're going to be the head coach next year because he's a leader of men. So that's Patty's, I guess, hot take prediction for this year. The Eagles are sputtering in late October, early November, and Nick Sirianni gets fired and Mike Vrabel takes over.
I love it. I love it. By the way, I had some expansive thoughts, but I don't think I have enough time. I'm going to tease you with this. I want to finish, put a little bow on this. I talked to some people down who have been at Eagles camp this week, and I think I'm more in on real Eagle problems than ever. And I will explain next. I don't want to rush this take because I think it's very cautionary for anybody thinking about betting the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, that's my little tease for you, a little radio tease. It's BetQL's 5-star week at Pat Boyle, Sean Morash. We continue on next.
BetQL 5-Star Weekend will be back on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM. Welcome back to BetQL 5-Star Weekend on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
Weekend. Sean Morash, Pat Boyle. We're going to get you set for your fantasy drafts and fantasy quarterbacks in a second. But Pat closed out his hot take, saying he thinks Nick Sirianni out midway through this season and problems with the Eagles. Look, I'm not going to pretend to be some kind of awesome journalist by any means. I mean, geez, I don't have any life skills. I love talking sports, farts, and all that other stuff, food on the radio. I like being an entertainer. I like watching sports. I don't know what I'd be doing if I didn't do this and strike the life lottery, being able to talk sports, okay? That being said, those that do cover sports and that I am fortunate enough to have established relationships with, sometimes you get some nuggets, some fun nuggets, little chicken nuggies, all right? So Monday, full disclosure, I went out to the Meadowlands in New Jersey, and I watched the Lions and Giants with a ton of reporters, national and local alike, Detroit, New York, nationally, because it was an interesting joint practice. A lot of fights were there. It was wild for training camp. Usually training camp would be kind of boring. There was a lot going on in East Rutherford, New Jersey on Monday. So being who I am, chatty Cathy, talking it up, and I talked to not one but two people who have been down at Eagles camp and also had some stuff with the Eagles last year. Okay? By the way, Theo Johnson, the fifth, I was way off. I thought he was the second tight end take. He was the fifth tight end take. It doesn't matter. He's Travis Kelce. All right. That's for side chat stuff. Here's what I got out of the Eagles situation, Pat, and this is where I think there's some credence. What happened last year in their collapse was real. They lost Shane Steichen, who felt like the real brains behind the offense. And like you talked about, what does Nick Sirianni do? The moment the team suffered the tiniest bit of adversity where their talent just wasn't good enough to win some of these games or the coaching wasn't good enough to help out, they freefalled big time last year and really sputtered out at the end of the season. And Nick Sirianni's taken blame on that, this, that, and the other thing. A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, all the rumors are true. They do not like each other. I'm telling you this. This is what I was told now from multiple people. They don't like each other. Jalen Hurts apparently within that locker room felt himself in his MVP ride 2 years ago. And he went from kind of the fun underdog stories, a second round pick, to too cool for school, as was pointed out to me. And some of the veterans kind of got tired of his act already. A.J. Brown was kind of paid. In essence, we know we really need you. Play nice. We're going to give you a contract here, and that's why he stayed put. The glues of that locker room on each side of the ball were Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelce. And I think almost forgotten about because they don't play sexy positions like wide receiver and quarterback. Neither of those guys are Philadelphia Eagles anymore. They both stepped away and retired. And they were the guys, apparently, as the tumultuous time was going on, were the only ones keeping the locker room together. Like they had a very divided locker room. And that is carried over into training camp this year, where guys are in it, guys are having fun, but there is noticeable cliques within the Eagle locker room that Nick Sirianni is doing nothing to fix. And I think the sexiness of signing Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown coming together, they have names and they have talent. But the way it was put to me is the only thing that can mask this fractured locker room is just their talent is so good that they win games, and winning is what kept them together last year in the very early part. The very early part of last year and the year before. If this team goes through tumultuous stretches and Pat Boyle laid them out for you, they don't have those glue guys in the locker room anymore, and this head coach is not good enough at keeping that room together. The Eagles circle it, put it on a dartboard. If they lose a couple games in a row, that team is going to absolutely fracture and be one of the most unmitigated disasters for what they are paying players on this team in the NFL this year. Okay? That's it. Now, they could win. They could be so talented enough that they win that it hides everything, but the problems in the room are absolutely real, and the quarterback has really soured people in that room. For as nice a guy as he seems, apparently the players themselves have gotten tired of his kind of, I guess diva would be the word, attitude since becoming a star. So there you go.
How about I didn't even have the inside info that I didn't have the inside info that you have, and I made that take. I made that prediction. I think it now it even sounds even better.
Again, and I was told, but can he really be that bad? And everybody said, winning talent could still win in the NFL, and winning cures everything. So things can be hidden. I don't want, but be very careful when betting them for big things in the NFC this year. That's all I'm saying. Because you could have an unsensible, wait, how did the Eagles lose 3 of 4? What's going on there? Situation like last year. Okay. All right. With that, It's fantasy football draft season. We have been ticking off positions each week, and it's time to get to the quarterbacks. Let's bring in Amir, who hopefully gets everybody's name right that he drafts here. Our producer, Amir Tyree, has done a great job on the show. I love busting his chops. He's a good dude. All right, fellas, we're going to draft 5 quarterbacks each. And we all know how we do this. Twitch.tv/BetQL to see the most unfun game of rock, paper, scissors that you will ever see. Here we go. Rock, paper, scissors, says, shoot. Wow.
Ooh.
Pat Boyle picks first. Me and
Bang
Amir
both
put out scissors. Amir, I've been a jerk to you in weeks past, so I'm
I
going to
just
give you the
banged both
second.
of you guys.
You did. Okay. Pat put out a rock. So Pat, who's had terrible takes all show long. Actually, he hasn't. The Sirianni and the Mariners are very good. He puts out a rock. He gets to pick quarterback first. Pat goes first. Amir goes second. I pick third. Let's fantasy draft some quarterbacks, Patty Boyle.
Yeah, Jimmy, I'm going to go no-brainer here. I don't care that the team didn't necessarily upgrade around him. You still have a – am I good here?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought my connection just totally farted out here for a second. They lose their number 1 receiver. They lose like the quote-unquote number 2 receiver, even though he turned out to be a stiff towards the end of his time there. But I still like the weapons that they got in Buffalo. And Josh Allen is a human locomotive who's going to run for a ton of touchdowns. He's going to run for a ton of yards. He's going to throw for a ton of touchdowns. So he's still going to put up an MVP caliber season. I'd be dumb not to take Joshy Allen, number 1 overall here, fantasy quarterback.
All right. I like it. How do you not take him? Although I would disagree on who you should take number 1. But okay. Go on, Amir. Here you go. I don't want to reveal anything in case somebody falls to me. Okay.
connection in the backfield is going to open up a lot of interesting options in that offense. And yeah, I think he's still going to be able to be a good dual threat quarterback and toward the top. And not a lot of guys are able to kind of replicate that as far as their production with arm and leg. So there very few guys are going to be able to. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick with Jalen Hurts there.
Amir, you better hope that tush push still works as well as it did last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
here's the open.
no. And by the way, was Saquon Barkley there? Do they run the tush push as much? And no Jason Kelsey anchoring that at center. I mean, they probably will. It feels like an unstoppable play, but they might outthink themselves, is what I'm saying. And don't think more people haven't studied that freaking stupid rugby play. By the way, fine, it's I don't want to outlaw it, but it's boring football. Okay, for me, yeah, I mean, you two guys can go to the chalk there. It's Lamar Jackson, who I think is going to feast even more on the ground with Derrick Henry next to him. With who do you cover? What do you do? And I think the young receivers like Zay Flowers having another step second year. I'm all in on Lamar Jackson. It's so interesting because I keep telling myself I like the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl, and yet every week I fall more and more in love with what the Ravens offense I think is going to be capable of this year. I don't know, ultimately, you get to an NFC championship game that I'd ever bet Lamar Jackson over a guy like Patrick Mahomes. But if I'm playing fantasy football, I think Lamar Jackson's absolutely going to feast this year. Of course, injury is always a question. He had that weird illness to start camp this year. But give me Lamar Jackson as my first-round pick. And then we wrap it around. Fantasy schmantasy. Patrick Mahomes is the best player on the planet. He's going to throw for 74 touchdowns this year. The Chiefs are going to be awesome. Give me Patrick Mahomes, and I feel comfortable about that as a fantasy quarterback. So back to you, Amir.
Bad pick.
No, it's not. He's still going to throw 3 touchdowns a game. Can he dump?
I have gotten 2 out of those. 2 out of you this year. Gotten 2 of those out of you this year, Shawnee. I think it's going to be a bad pick. Bad pick. And the scary injury from Hollywood Brown, by the way, sternoclavicular dislocation of the shoulder. Like, he's out multiple weeks. You better hope that Rashee Rice can stay out of trouble and be on the field and be the number 1 receiver that the Chiefs that he emerged for them as last year. And you better hope that Travis Kelce doesn't go 7 or 8 weeks, where he's basically invisible with Taylor Swift and he can't catch a touchdown pass. Mahomes wasn't very good in terms of putting up fantasy numbers last year. You better hope things change in KC.
Okay, go to him here.
All right. Just as we come back around, I'm gonna go ahead and go with everybody's darling rookie quarterback from last year. Had a spectacular season. He's added some more depth in his receiving core, bringing in Stephon Diggs. I'm gonna go with C.J. Stroud with my second round pick. I think he'll still have a great season. He's got another year of experience. He's got more talent around him. He's only gonna continue to grow. I think he's gonna have solid numbers. And a lot of other guys who are a little bit iffy just because of uh, injuries and things like that. Like we know how good they are, and he had a great healthy year first year, so I think he can go ahead and continue to build on that. So I'm gonna go with Stroud.
All right, I'm going to do it
Okay.
here. I'm going to do it for my second pick, and I can easily see him getting hurt again. But if he's healthy, if he stays healthy and plays 17 or 16 games this year, the numbers that Anthony Richardson is going to put up are going to be off the charts with what he can do with his legs. 4 touchdowns on the ground
Yeah.
in the first 3 games that he played last year. Add on to the fact that he's also pretty damn good through the air as well. Michael Pittman, Josh Downs. Now they've got A.D. Mitchell as well. Oh, man. Anthony Richardson's going to be a fantasy problem if he stays healthy, so I can't pass up on him. I don't know if you guys are thinking about taking him, but I certainly cannot pass up on him. So whether I took him round 2 or round 3, because here we go, snaking it right back around. Anthony Richardson from the Colts, give me him. And then let's go with the guy that I think is going to win the MVP this year. So I was hoping that nobody took him in the first 2 rounds. And, it just proves that, once again, I'm the best fantasy drafter. I would be the best football GM out of the 3 of you guys here. I think Joe Burrow's bouncing back and winning the MVP this year. So, yeah, if he's winning the MVP, I'm taking him on my fantasy team. And I think you can get Joe Burrow in a fantasy draft this year, probably in the 5th round. I honestly think you can wait out. If you get him in the 5th round, you snag him. I don't know if it's probably a bit of a too much of a reach to take him in the 4th round, but 5th round I think is where you can get a sweet spot where you start to see the quarterbacks come off the board. Maybe late round 3 with Josh Allen. Maybe you see Josh Allen go 2nd round. You see Lamar go 3rd round. Mahomes maybe the 4th. If there's a 5th round there and you're drafting Joe Burrow's available, I'm snagging him. He would be my quarterback 1 that I do take in terms of the best overall value. I think he wins the MVP. So give me Richardson and then give me Burrow.
I like those picks. I think Richardson's poised for a big year. All right, Amir, back to you.
Solid 2 picks. I definitely thought you were going in a different direction, but this next guy I'm going to pick, not as sexy as far as the dual threat aspect, but this is like weapons, like, no one's really going to rival him in that. I'm going to go ahead and stick with Tua with my next pick. He's still got Tyreek Hill. He's still got Waddle. He's going to have Achane. He's got Mostert in there, who's a little bit older, but, they're going to have all the same weapons on offense. We've seen just how they run their system, how they make the most of the talent they do have, and getting those, like, he doesn't have to launch the ball down the field, whether it's like a quick out or just any other play on like screens and things like that. Their offense has been able to create so many points and just throwing a ton of touchdowns, throwing for a ton of yards. I think he has the best chance to have like the leading receiver as well this year. That's Tyreek Hill's been going crazy the last couple of years. So I'm gonna do a nice safe pick with Tua because I know the production is gonna be there as long as he's on the field.
I love it, Amir, and so that wraps back to me for my 3rd round pick. I'm going contract year here. Dak Prescott. Look, whether you like him or love him, you got to think Dak Prescott is going to feel slighted already. And it doesn't mean, by the way, Dak Prescott greatness means the Cowboys win 13 or 14 games. That defense could fall apart, anything like that. And yeah, I'm worried about the CeeDee Lamb situation. But Dak Prescott is going to be playing pissed off football. And if not for a contract with the Cowboys, he's playing to make sure that he gets paid somewhere else at the end of the year. So financially motivated, I got to put Dak Prescott next on my board statistically. And then that comes to my next pick. I started the show with it. I'm going to go with it here because I think he's going to be a beast on the ground as well. I'm going Jaden Daniels with the Washington Commanders. He's got receivers there. I think he's going to run free a lot. I think you're going to get a lot cooking out of Jaden Daniels. Back to you, Amir.
Okay. I'm going to go with another one of the freshly paid quarterbacks from this offseason. He took me to a fantasy championship last year. I thought he was going to have a breakout year. I think he's going to continue to get better. Look at this guy, Pat. Look at this smirk he has. He's ready. He doesn't know what I'm going to come up with.
I know.
I'm going to go with Jordan Love.
Yep.
That's who I'm going to go with right here. Obviously he had a great year. He finished as the 5th fantasy quarterback last year. They have even more confidence in him. And that's like with him, he didn't start heating up. He had like his 8-week stretch where he really heated up. I think he gets hotter even earlier this year with more experience. They definitely know they have their franchise guy. I think he has all the confidence of the organization in him, and he's going to continue to get better. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Jordan Love.
Yeah,
Pat, why don't you just close us off with one here?
Yeah, there's some sexy picks I could take here, but again, that guy that I think is going to be in the conversation for MVP. So he's going to put up a ton of yards and a ton of touchdowns. He had 4,300 yards at 31 tutties last year. Give me Brock Purdy of the 49ers as a safe pick, your backup quarterback that I think you can get late rounds in a fantasy draft.
Yep, and of note, notice nobody drafted Aaron Rodgers, and don't do it because he will get hurt again. No, I hope not. That was a shot at Jet fans. BetQL 5-star weekend. We continue on next.
BetQL 5-star weekend will be back on the BetQL network. Presented by BetMGM. BetQL 5-Star Weekend on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
It's BetQL's 5-Star Weekend presented by BetMGM. Patty Boyle's rocking out. I'm rocking out. Kenny about to rock out. We got some dingbat home run plays, and correct me if I'm wrong, we had no legit loser again. So we've only had that happen a couple times here this year, which is fine. Which is fine. Not every time we need a belly button to appear. Kenny, we pro camera, anti camera today. We do a live production on the show.
Wow.
Okay.
Come on.
Apparently
Kenny,
we're not.
We give you this spotlight. We give you this pedestal, and you can't even be ready to turn the camera on when it comes for Dingbat. There he is. There he is.
Today's not a day for me to crush Kenny. Kenny's done more than enough for me today. It is BetQL's 5-Star Weekend here ahead of Dingbat. Fellas, like we just did last segment with Amir, let's play a little game of rock, paper, scissors, if we will. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors says shoot. We all put out scissors. We're all in a scissor mood. Okay. Rock, paper, scissors says shoot. Wow. I put out a rock. Pat put out a rock. Kenny put out a paper. Paper. Best rock. Kenny will go first overall. Pat, what's up?
I'll go last, Shawnee.
Pat wants to go last. I go second. Kenny, Gunnar Henderson, who does a great job as an associate producer on this show, saving many's bacon, some have said, in the industry here. Kenny, who has been hot since his belly button appeared, will pick first. Kenny, give us our first pick for a home run hitter today in Major League Baseball.
Well, how about we play the imaging?
I forget the imaging. I forget.
A lot of
Hold on, Kenny.
Kenny! I didn't know
Kenny!
Pick here.
Kenny! I forgot to play the imaging, or you did. Play it. Let's go.
Who will win? Who will lose? Who will look dumb? It's time for Dingbat with Sean Marash and Pat Boyle on the Bet.
All right. Don't worry. There's only 3 shows left for me to remember there's imaging for the segment I created back in March. Okay. Kenny, take it away.
All right, well, I'm trying to figure out where I want to go now. All right, let's go to Bryce Harper going up against Merrill Kelly in the Diamondbacks. He's 5-1. I don't know why he's priced that long, but we'll take him.
Okay. Bryce Harper, pick number 1. Pick number 2 for me. The date is August 11th. The date was August 3rd. Does anybody know what that is?
You're going to be a pig. You're going to be a pig here and take Judge, aren't you?
That's the last time Aaron Judge hit a home run. Think about that. Now, they've had rainouts mixed in, doubleheaders. August 3rd to August 11th, though, is a long, long time. And Andrew Heaney, 1.17 homers per 9 this year, is actually his lowest since 2015. But he's still a guy who gives up a lot of hard hits and a lot of fly balls. Aaron Judge is so overdue for a home run. I am taking him at plus 210 today in Dingbat.
Yep. I knew you were going to take him. I was going to take him first. I should have said, you know what, Sean, I want to go second. But I was a nice guy and I let you go. And you know what? I hope Judge gets walked all 4 times or all 5 times today. I hope they don't pitch to him. And that might be a bet that I might take. You know,
okay.
Forget about degeneration bets. I think, by the way, I mean, you know, you'd have to wait to take Judge live now to take him to have 1 walk. So I think like Judge to get 2 walks is like plus 200. So I might take that. But you know what? If they're gonna walk Judge, how about give me Big G, give me Giancarlo Stanton, who has mashed lefties in his career. Again, Heaney, he makes 1 mistake and Stanton runs into one. It's out of here. He homered yesterday in Game 2. Didn't play in Game 1. Homered in Game 2 yesterday, so he's getting hot now. He's starting to heat up since he's come back from injury, and I think he does it again. Stanton, who, by the way, has got 4 hits in his last 3 games, and he's gotten hot pretty quickly here. So, yeah, back-to-back days with a bomb for Big G, Giancarlo Stanton, absolutely plus 280. I'm in.
All right, Kenny, back to you.
All right, 2 Yankees. I had a few Yankees on my board as well, but I'll go to Teoscar Hernandez of the Dodgers. Everyone's going to bet Shohei. Hernandez has 2 homers in his career off of Bailey Falter of the Pirates, so I'm going to go with Teoscar Hernandez.
All right. I like that. I'm going to be athletic here and take Brent Rooker, who homered yesterday, plus 420. Versus Chris Bassett today. Bassett is a Bassett hound at giving up fly balls with his fly ball rate. Give me Brent Rooker, red hot. Rooker, I don't have a pun for that. I'm sorry. Maybe Bassett will be Brent backwards by Brent Rooker today, plus 420. Boy, what a whiff. Shawnee, you're better than that. Back to you, Pat.
Yeah, I mean, are you, though? Are you?
No.
I'm going to go ahead and take one of the hottest hitters in baseball, really over the last month, and that is Vladdy, the daddy, Vladdy Guerrero Jr. In that same game, by the way, to go deep off J.P. Sears, who he mashes against lefty. I had his splits here for certain. 6 home runs and 76 ABs against lefties. He's got 1,100 OPS against left-handed pitchers this year. So Vladdy, my daddy, I think he goes deep, and I had his price right in front of me before, and I also lost that. So, we're a little bit all over the place here for Dingbat, as we usually are. But now I've got it. Vlad Guerrero Jr. to go deep is plus 425. Give me Vladdy. That's a good price for a guy that's been
good price.
Really on fire.
Yeah. The price is right, Pat. The price is right. Kenny, why don't you Barker one over now?
All right. For my final pick, I'm going to go with Austin Riley at Coors Field. He's been super hot. All of his teammates have been hitting home runs at Coors Field in the last 2 games. Soler and Ozuna both went back-to-back, and Olsen hit 2 yesterday. Riley has not gone yard in the past 2 days, but he did hit 3 homers earlier this week. So he has been hot, but he's definitely due this weekend, so I'm going to take him.
All right, my final pick. I'm going to a guy who's been picked here on Dingbat before, but I have yet to pick him this year. Who was 3rd in the majors this year with 34 home runs? His name is Anthony Santander. Okay. And today, Anthony Santander is facing Jeffrey Springs, who surrendered 2 home runs in his last start versus the Cardinals for the Rays. I'm getting plus 350 on the price. I'm going Anthony Santander. And by the way, I might parlay my 3 picks. There's something in my gut that tells me I'm going to have a huge week here. Something in my fat gut.
Not the breakfast burrito you had?
I actually didn't have a breakfast burrito. I'm meeting my father for wings in about an hour.
Oh, wow. You want to talk about getting ready for football season.
Well, you know what the deal is, Pat? Before you give the final pick, actually give you a final pick, and then I'll explain the deal.
I heard you take Austin Riley there, Kenny. Has anybody else taken somebody from Atlanta today? I wasn't necessarily paying attention.
I have not.
No.
I have not.
That was the only
All right, this is like a weekly thing now. I basically take him every week here, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take him again. Him and his 35 home runs. Give me Marcell Ozuna, who has gone deep. How about this? He's gone deep, and I feel like I every time I take Marcell Ozuna, he doesn't homer. Every time I don't take Marcell Ozuna, he homers. He's homered in 3 straight games. He homered Thursday against Milwaukee. He homered Friday in Colorado. He homered yesterday in Colorado. I'm going to take him to go deep again. All right? And that's that. Marcell Ozuna in the thin Denver air off of Kyle Freeland. They make one mistake to him. It's getting parked deep. It's getting parked deep in the seats. So I'm sick of not lining up the stars at Marcell Ozuna. And just because he's homered 3 straight days, about 4 for the money, 1 for the show, 2 to get ready, and 4 to go for Marcell Ozuna plus
I like it.
There you go.
I like it. All right. And that is, of course, your dingbat. Good luck to all those home run bettors. Now, I will say I got a little etiquette question for Patty. A little guy talk here for a second, okay?
Oh, hit me with it.
Today, I have 2 sisters, full disclosure, that are pregnant at the same time. So, I don't know, with all due respect to some of the female audience out there, I love you all. I don't know what these showers are so odd to me. Just like, please give me gifts to help out with the baby at all times. So my sister's baby shower is today, the first one. The next one is like in 3 weeks, whatever. My wife has like helped organize all of this. So my dad obviously because it's his daughter's shower, has said, hey, to me and my two brother-in-laws, you guys want to go grab lunch during the baby shower? Because at the end, Pat, I don't know if you've ever experienced that. Apparently it is on us to help load gifts in the trucks that we have, or the various trunks we have, to get my sister her gifts back to whatever house. Which I don't know why I got to be involved in this. It ain't my baby, okay? Let my brother-in-law figure it out with his friends. It ain't my baby. I don't remember everybody helping me, but apparently people did. My dad's like, let's grab lunch first. So I text my dad, what do you want to do for lunch? He wants to go sit at the restaurant in which the shower is taking place in a separate room. He wants to go sit at the bar there. Well, we're already there. So we can help with gifts after. My kids are going to be at this thing. Okay. My wife's going to be at this thing. I want to be as far away from the restaurant that this shower is taking place in. I don't want to be called to help any earlier than I have. Good food, good wings and everything, but it's like in a strip where there's other restaurants, it's like in a little village. My dad was like, no, why would we go there? The shower's here. Why would we go? Why would you want to be in the same building that the baby shower is taking place in until the last possible 10 minutes we load gifts? Am I wrong?
No, I agree. I would want to be as far away from that as humanly possible. I don't want to get brought in. You're already getting dragged into carrying all the gifts out. Now that they know
it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon. You think I want to be involved with this?
They know you're going to be there. They know that if they need help with anything else besides carrying out all the gifts, which you're already doing, you're just a quick call away. Hey, Sean. Hey, Mr. Marash. Why don't you guys come out and help us with this, please? Help us set up the
I don't
tables.
want that. I don't need that in my life.
I wouldn't want that either. That's a bad job by Bob the Deli Man. You can go anywhere else for wings. You don't got to go to the place where the shower's at.
Yeah, and so I texted him about 20 minutes ago, offered up another place. When I tell you it's across the street, it's across the street. To which I've gotten no response. So I don't know. Yeah, when people get older and like they just don't want to be thrown off their plan. They think like something is going to be so radical. I think my dad's reached that point in life where it's like, what? Like his head exploded that we would go somewhere else and walk across. It's across the street. Dude, what is the big deal?
Plans and technology. My dad refuses to use the backup camera, and I'm like, dude, use it. I'm not using it. I don't believe in it.
That's so true. They're so resistant. We're across the street. You have two legs. We'll walk. We'll be fine. You don't have to be in the building. Oh, we'll come back. Hot takes and hot cakes round number 3.
BetQL 5-Star Weekend will be back on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM. now. With Sean Marash.
I will punch you in your stupid face, and I hate the Knicks. I hate their fans.
And Pat Boyle.
That's probably why I'm not a GM in the NFL, but if I was, I would probably take a huge swing on Michael Penix.
Turning your faith into fortune.
Few things in the gambling world I can't wait to bet more than the Jets under right now.
While serving up hot cakes and hot takes.
If Chet Holmgren was on that team, he's probably putting up better numbers than Wemby.
It's BetQL 5-Star Weekend, presented by BetMGM.
BetQL's 5-Star Weekend is here. Final hour of the program. Do I have this right? The Team USA and France of the women's gold medal game is 51-51 at the moment. I did live bet at -160 Team USA on the money line when they were trailing a few minutes ago. I believe it is 51-51 with some minutes remaining there. Patty, what's going on? How are you for hour number 3?
I'm doing good, Shawnee. I am doing good. And, you said, by the way, you didn't watch much of the Olympics at all. And we got into a big little scuffle argument here about how momentous Steph Curry's shot was, that fourth and final three in the final 3 minutes.
Which, by the way,
medal.
Social media agreeing with me, by the way, that you've over-exaggerated it. But okay.
Oh, because that's absolutely the end-all, be-all. What a couple of stiffs, live in their mom's basement say on social media. That is definitely the indicator of who won an argument. But I do remember a couple of weeks ago, well before the Olympics started, you said that Caitlin Clark's not on the team. Why should I care about watching the women's basketball go for gold? And here we are, full circle. Now they're down to the final couple of minutes here on the verge of what would be a historic upset. They've won 60 straight games. I mean, when's the last time we didn't win the gold medal, right? And
right.
It's coming down to the wire. How do you feel about this?
How do I feel about it? Well, I just bet Team USA, and I don't even have the game on and a monitor in front of me, so I feel like I want to win money. But at the same time, you reap what you sow. And honestly, you want to know the honest truth? Team USA losing, if they were to lose, is the best thing for the WNBA stretch run, because it's just going to cause all that Caitlin Clark controversy to come up with 11 games or so left in the regular season. As they won't obviously come anywhere near the football buzz that we have. But if you want any sort of relevancy coming off of this, I actually think a Team USA loss does more for the relevancy of the WNBA right now and talking about it than a win does.
By the way, I got to laugh. I'm talking about what social media proves in arguments. Amir, social media told me that Pat Boyle is the heir to some big shot awning tycoon.
True. That's true. I remember that.
Side hustle for me that if it was on its own, I couldn't feed a family of 4 gerbils for a living. So let's set the record straight again on that.
What do gerbils eat? Milk?
Oh, I think seed. Actually, I don't know. What do you feed a gerbil?
I thought they were like bottle fed that thing on the cage.
That's water? You talking about water, dude? They don't drink milk. First of all, what do they eat? Milk? What does that even mean?
Well, like milk is their sustenance.
What do gerbils eat?
Apparently seeds, according to Dan Turner, who has now said 3 times in our side chat, seeds.
That's what I said, seed. Give them plenty of variety. Fruit can be used to supplement your gerbil's food pellets. Yeah, the seed, the food pellets.
Okay. Well, at least Dan has contributed something this summer. He's a big gerbil guy.
All right, so we got a little sweat here for you. I didn't get in on this action, but you got women's USA basketball to try to finish off the deal here. What do we got? A couple of 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, why not? Why not? -160. Let's bankroll a little money here. They're not a kiss of death, by the way. They're not going to win because I placed it at -160, and away we go. By the way, they were probably minus freaking 600 before the game.
Men were -2,000, and the women basically haven't lost since Vietnam. So I would assume the women, if there was a money line pregame, they were probably minus 5,000. I didn't even check. I'm sure that is checkable.
USA has taken the lead, and now they're -450 on the money line. So at -160, I think I got in at the right time. So,
I got 55-55, 3:45 to go here. I got the game on.
I got 56-55 with 3:42 to go.
All right, well, you're ahead of me, so don't spoil it.
Right. Okay, sorry. All right, and away we go. What are we talking about? Oh, yeah, hot takes and hot cakes. Let's go.
morning, people. Boy, do I need some hot takes and hot cakes. Pat Boyle and Sean Marash, give it to them.
I have teased this thought, and I'm done teasing it. Jerry Jones is an idiot. We know he's an idiot. He might be a lovable idiot, but he's an idiot. And Jerry Jones's comments about CeeDee Lamb this week and paying him, why would you say anything into a microphone publicly as you're in a standoff with your star wide receiver? And for the record, I'm coming around on crafting the take that I might be okay not paying certain receivers when you see the influx of how many come into each and every one of these drafts now, where I think that's starting to become the watered down. Do you really want to pay a big receiver when it's easier than ever to find receivers in drafts? Maybe. I'm not there yet, but I've started to craft that mindset. If the Cowboys don't want to pay CeeDee Lamb, like, that's their business. They can't afford everybody. They have Micah Parsons do. They have Dak Prescott do. That might be a decision they have to make. But all it's telling me is that Jerry Jones is unsensibly lost. And because of that, I set you up with this. Little spoiler alert. The Cowboys are not going to make the Super Bowl this year. Further spoiler alert. They're going to fail again to make an NFC Championship game. Whatever that path is, whether it's an unmitigated letdown disaster because everybody in that room starts fighting over money and they win 7 games, that's one thing. Whether it's they win 10, 11 games, win the division, and then meet their Grim Reaper, which is the 49ers along the way, or maybe the Packers, they're going to have that outcome. And inevitably what's going to happen is Jerry Jones is going to keep eating him alive that he can't figure this out. And this will be the end of the rope with Mike McCarthy. We saw them get to the end of the rope, albeit longer lifeline than McCarthy with Jason Garrett. He is going to feel his mortality, and Jerry Jones has acknowledged this. He doesn't live forever. He won't live forever. And he will do something radical. On top of not paying Dak Prescott, he is going to be pitched by a guy who was in his box at the end of last year. Hey, I could fix this. I could be this. And that's going to be Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders is going to be flashy this year at Colorado again. Jerry Jones loves flash. He loves everybody talking about him. And what will reinvigorate talking about the Cowboys more than Deion Sanders coaching them? And Deion Sanders is going to promise to Jerry Jones, I'm not going to allow Shedeur Sanders to be signed by whoever drafts him unless it's the Cowboys. And you are going to see the first true quarterback power play since Eli Manning in 2004, not going to the Chargers and dictating that. Deion Sanders will be the head coach of the Cowboys in 2025, and Shedeur Sanders will be the starting quarterback for the Cowboys in 2025. Dak Prescott will be playing football elsewhere, and Mike McCarthy will be coaching elsewhere if and when the Cowboy disaster happens. I am firmly planting my seed that that's not just speculation anymore. That will be the combo in Dallas in 2025. There's my hot take for hour number 3.
Wow, you've teased it. Now you're officially putting it on the record there.
I mean, the CeeDee Lamb comments to me, I'm like, this man has just lost it.
He has. Dan Turner, I'm sure, hopefully is working hard at clipping that one. That's a nice little social media clip there for Shawnee, when and if that does come true or not. But I mean, I could see it. And I've done some national sports radio shows here over the weekend, and that was one of the big things I said. Yes, just idiotic, moronic, buffoonish comments from Jerry Jones. Do I have urgency to get a deal done? CeeDee Lamb? I was at Nobu. Why don't you write that? How about write that? Everybody laugh around me like you're laughing with me, but you're laughing at me. Because Jerry Jones is single-handedly closing the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl window here. I don't understand how you have allowed Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons. Well, Micah Parsons, they picked up the 50-year on his option, but you've allowed CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, your 2 most talented offensive players on the entire team, 2 out of your top 5 best players on the entire team, how you've let them get to their final years without a contract extension, especially CeeDee Lamb. Where you see he basically had, 6 straight games with 100 yards and a touchdown last year?
That's right. That's right.
And then to make those comments, oh my God. So yes, it does seem like Jerry Jones, at his wit's end with desperation, filling his blood at the end of this year, says, you know what? Deion and Shedeur are the answer. And that is who we are going for with the Dallas Cowboys. I can see it, Sean. I like it. I like that prediction.
Thank you, buddy. Why don't you give us a take or a cake?
Yeah, I got a bet for you. I got a bet and I got a little sprinkle. But I just mentioned it earlier in the show. And as we near closer and closer to football, it's August 11th. We are, 27 days away from opening night on that Thursday night. And we are what, 4 Sundays, 18-25, four Sundays away from week 1. It's almost time to start locking in some official futures bets. And I'm saying this is on the record. This will be an official bet of mine, whether it's in the coming days or in the next 2 weeks here. My MVP pick this year is officially, or at least I'm going to sprinkle on on definitely one, maybe 2 others. But my heaviest MVP play and one of my futures bets that I like the most this year is the comeback season, revenge tour, bounce back year, MVP year for Joe Burrow here. Plus 900 on BetMGM. That's who I like. That's who I think is winning the MVP. Nearly won it 2 years ago. He's been to the Super Bowl. He has unfolded the equation, the formula on how to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. And you think that this guy is not ready to go? You know, he showed up at training camp with the bleach blonde hair, the buzz cut. Joe Cool, who has Jamar Chase, who maybe not after this year he won't, but for this year has T. Higgins, a running back room that leaves a lot to be desired. No offense to Zach Moss, but this is going to be a Bengals offense that relies heavily on throwing the football. Mike Gesicki is the tight end now, and it's an offensive line that is a far cry from when they allowed 65 sacks and basically forced Burrow to tear his ACL in his rookie year. It's come a long way. He's got a good offensive line. He's got a top 5 receiver in football. He's got one of the best 1-2 combos in football. And Joe Burrow's got all the motivation you could ask for from the ground, hit the ground running week 1 to put up some big-time numbers this year. Burrow to win MVP plus 900. That is my official pick. But then I'm absolutely going to sprinkle on a guy that, Sean, just a couple of weeks ago when we're talking about, we're starving for football, we're dying for football, we're talking about, who are guys that can win MVP? What odds do we think are good? What odds might be good value picks? Well, I'm definitely going to sprinkle $25 on Brock Purdy to win MVP plus 1,600. And I don't care about the folks that say, well, McCaffrey should win it. And, again, Christmas night, I don't care. And I think we've disagreed about this, Sean. Christmas night against the Ravens, if Brock Purdy outplays Lamar Jackson and wins that game, he wins the MVP. I don't want to hear anything else. Yeah, I don't care about it. It would have been McCaffrey. It would have been McCaffrey. No way. Brock Purdy would have won the MVP. So at plus 1,600 with the same weapons that he's got in San Francisco, if Brock Purdy plays the way he did all the way up until Christmas night, if he has a full season putting up the numbers that, again, handing off, throwing the football to Christian McCaffrey, throwing the football to Deebo Samuel, throwing the football to Brandon Ayuk, who I'm that much more confident the Niners are going to re-sign after this week's news. And I'm probably not going to make this bet if they don't re-sign Brandon Ayuk, but that's why I said I'm going to wait maybe a week or two here to lock it in. But I'm sprinkling some for Brock Purdy to win MVP at plus 1,600 on BetMGM. But Burrow is my number 1 pick, plus 900. Joe Burrow, I think, wins the MVP this year.
I love that pick here for the Bengals offense. And, oh, by the way, yesterday, Burton is his name, the 3rd-round pick that they took at wide receiver that everybody's drooling about, all the draft nicks, that the Bengals here who don't have Tyler Boyd will be just fine at that 3rd wide receiver position. The AFC North is going to be fascinating. And look, Pittsburgh Steelers right now, Justin Fields, disaster kind of first start, fumbling and stumbling with the center exchange in the preseason. Who the heck knows with the Cleveland Browns, who were a playoff team a year ago, and Deshaun Watson. But that is going to be such a tough division to figure out if you're not the Ravens or Bengals to win it there. Remember, the Bengals not having Burrow last year and teams took advantage. That's difficult. To me, it's either Ravens or Bengals to get there, and I'm with you on Burrow. Could be an AFC North MVP fest with Lamar versus Burrow if both really, really, really get cooking. It's hard not to fall slightly in love with him. Pat, have you? Is that even a real song?
You are correct.
Yeah.
You are correct, by the way. Yes, Jermaine Burton, who they drafted from Alabama. And I forgot about Andre Yasivas, and I think I'm saying his name right. At the end of that lost season. Yeah, at the end of that lost season for the Bengals, he scored a couple of touchdowns. So, again, one of those guys. If Yosivas takes a big step forward, or if they nailed Jermaine Burton like they nailed T. Higgins, I mean, look out. Yeah, Burrow's going to throw for 45 touchdowns.
Have you placed a bet on a preseason game yet?
Oh, I have. Multiple.
Yeah, me too.
I did both unders for the first night, Thursday night. They gave us a couple of mid-30s for 2 games in driving rain. Absolutely. Took the unders on those. Took a couple unders yesterday. I think I went 3-2. In the 5 games that I bet pregame, but then I also took a couple of games live because I don't know how smart the sports books are and the algorithms when they put out the over under, knowing that most starters, Patrick Mahomes plays, a drive. Most of these starting quarterbacks who that played a drive or at most played a quarter after they come out. That was a good time where you see maybe a lot of 7-7 or a 10-3 or a 7-3 after the first quarter. You get a better number than you did pregame. So I live bet a couple unders and hit on that yesterday.
How American is that? All right, we come back. GTFO or oh yeah, plus some DGen bets and Sunday Scary's beef bet to go. Show's flying along here. It's BetQL's 5-star weekend. Sean Morris, Pat Boyle. When we come back next.
BetQL 5-star weekend will be back on the BetQL network. Presented by BetMGM. Welcome back to BetQL 5-Star Weekend on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
Left USA up 1 here in the women's gold medal game that I jumped in live -160, trying to figure out where the ending is on that. And we will get that updated for you as well in about 20 minutes or so. Some fun bets for the day, including I'm going to give you an over-under in a preseason game today in the NFL, plus a Sunday scary. But, Pat, I like this time every week. I love GTFO or oh yeah, because it's just nonsensical bullet points that we get to argue about. And to me, that is me and you at our best. So without further ado, I'm going to remember that we have a bed for this. Let's go to GTFO or oh yeah.
Now, time for GTFO or oh yeah.
Team USA has won 67-66 in a nail-biter. Shawnee Cashes. All right, Team USA, congrats. Another gold medal for the women as they come home, and the best player from Team USA who didn't make the Olympic trip, Caitlin Clark, can restart her WNBA season. Somebody just got so mad at that comment. Calm down. Relax. Steph Curry is a top 10 player of all time. GTFO or oh yeah, Pat Boyle. This was your boy.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, he's the greatest shooter of all time, so how can he not be in the top 10 of all time?
Said.
4 NBA championships, couple NBA Finals MVPs. Yeah, Steph Curry, no doubt, top 10 player of all time. And don't let me tell you, Kevin Durant has said at times he's top 5 of all time.
So this is an oh yeah for me, but it's an oh yeah with a caveat. Pat, you said it best. This is right. It feels like almost like a Hall of Fame debate. Do you have to think about it? If you have to think about it, is he really a Hall of Famer? If you have to think about, is he top 10? Is he top 10? I mean, I do have to think about it because how many players were so great in times before me and you were alive, right? So, like, it is possible for me to contextualize that from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Larry Bird, even, I'm very young when he's playing, and, Magic Johnson, go down the road. I don't need to name everybody we know. Okay, Wilt Chamberlain. I've seen Jordan play. I've seen LeBron play. I've seen Kobe Bryant and Shaq play. Tim Duncan play. To me, for as dominant as I always thought, Shaq was the most dominant player I've ever actually seen. That doesn't make him the best, but it was just his size and stature. Steph Curry revolutionized basketball. Okay, and if you revolutionize the sport, I can't tell the history of the sport without you. You are a top 10 player of all time. He's revolutionized the sport beyond genders. I mean, think about, everything we talk about with Caitlin Clark is because of Steph Curry and his shooting. So it's more than just the dynasty with the Warriors. I mean, we forget, who the heck thought the Golden State Warriors were some kind of premier franchise before Steph Curry got there? We almost take for granted how great they are as a franchise. They were just, Monta Ellis and the Warriors going to scare you as an 8 seed? Change the trajectory of a franchise. Dynastic player. Changed the way the game is played. How many kids are just airmailing threes today that were never doing that even when Reggie Miller was doing it because of Steph Curry? He is a top 10 player of all time for me because of that. All right, GTFO. You look like inquisitive. Was I wrong, Pat? You disagreed?
No, I agree.
No, I agree.
I'm getting ready for some degeneration bets. I'm just making sure I have the line correctly. So sorry, my focus for a split second was elsewhere, but I agree with you.
No, I'm sorry to call you to the mat like that. It was a weird look I got. I apologize. I should know better.
Is it the glasses? Is it the Mrs. Doubtfire glasses?
By the way, shout out. BetMGM has already put a little money in my pocket. So shout out for paying out quickly.
Yeah, you hit the bet.
I hit the bet. I got more money in my account than I started the show with today, Pat. How about that?
Yeah,
GTFO. That's right. GTFO or oh yeah, 2024 Team USA was the best collection of basketball talent ever assembled. What is this question, Amir? I mean, every Team USA at the time is the best collection of talent. Does this beat the original? No, you know what? No, it's GTFO. They don't have Michael Jordan on the team. Michael Jordan was on the original Dream Team. It's GTFO for that reason.
Yeah, I agree. LeBron, arguably second greatest player of all time. Steph Curry, I think he's top 10 player of all time. Kevin Durant, one of the most gifted scorers of the last 30 years. For me, it's still GTFO. No, it's French now. It's GTFO. It's still GTFO. I mean, do I need to rattle off the 1992 Dream Team here? Should I do that, Sean? Should we do that? Should
I
we do
have
that?
all the
Should I?
McDonald's stickers from it. I mean, I'm good.
Wow. Okay. So I shouldn't do it. I'm going to do it. Ready?
Oh, all right.
Magic Johnson, Charles Barkley, John Stockton, Karl Malone, Clyde Drexler, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Larry Bird, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, and then Christian Leitner. So, and Chris Mullin. So, yeah, no, GTFO nothing. Most likely, nothing will ever top that.
Yeah. And as far as that team goes, better Leitner than never. Okay. Next up, GTFO or oh yeah. The Mariners will win the AL West. This is a hard oh yeah for me. I am not a believer in the Joe Espada Astros who have had their opportunity to pounce on the Mariners. The Mariners are getting J-Rod back. The Mariners are winning the AL West, Pat Boyle.
I'm going to say I wish it was GTFO because, again, I gave him right in the beginning of the show plus 2,500 in case you missed it. Free Odyssey app. You can rewind. Patty Boyle is putting in Mariners plus 2,500 to win the World Series here today. So that's going to be in. And I think they win the World Series. I honestly kind of rather they don't win the AL West because I want it to come out of left field as much as entirely possible. No pun intended there. Like the Diamondbacks came out of left field. I want the Mariners to come out of left field this year. But yeah, with that that starting rotation, again, it only feels like it's a matter of time before the Mariners offense starts picking it up. And once JP Crawford and Julio Rodriguez come back, this lineup can't be as bad as it has been for most of the season. I could be wrong. But yeah, I do think the starting rotation, if nothing else, gets them over the hump. I do think the AL West probably comes down to the final weekend of the season, but I do think the Mariners win it. So I'm going to say, oh yeah.
All right. GTFO or oh yeah. Mookie Betts move. No, it's moved to the outfield makes the Dodgers better. He's now going to go back to the outfield and he's going to leave shortstop. Does it make the Dodgers better? Pat Boyle?
Well, can I ask? Again, I don't proclaim to know everything. Who is going to be moving?
He played the whole year. I was Gavin Lux back at shortstop. I know he supplanted him, and I think he's played well. I could be lost. I don't want to speak out of turn. Whoever's taken over at shortstop's been pretty good, and they have a little bit more of a hole in the outfield. So let me look that back up.
It should be Lux. No? I mean, are we missing something?
God, I want to make sure. Now we sound like complete idiots, but I thought I had this, and you're making me second guess myself. No, they don't even have. Oh, wait. Hold on. No, they traded for Ahmed Rosario.
Oh, correct. That is correct.
Where is Gavin Lux playing? We're idiots. We are idiots.
Second base. He plays second base. I would assume he's
played second base
most of the year for them.
Right. They traded for Rosario in the middle infield. Right. Okay. There you go. Does it make them better? I mean, getting Mookie Betts back makes them better.
They've also got Miguel Rojas, who I think has played a lot of shortstop this year. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is maybe one of 200 GTFO or OYAs where I couldn't tell you, man. I guess.
That's fine. I'd rather be transparent. Just getting Mookie Betts back is going to make them better. Okay.
Mookie Betts coming back obviously makes him better. I don't know, moving to the outfield. I don't know if that makes him better. Whatever.
And as I talk live production here, Amir's a great producer. He is. I love just busting chops. Like, that's what I do. So anybody listens thinks I'm a jerk to these guys. I'm not. I love them. He wrote his move to the infield, and I've already checked our sheet. He's already changed it to act like he didn't write infield and put outfield, try to cover his tracks. Amir, I saw. I know what you did. Okay? I know what you did last summer. GTFO or oh yeah, there should be a salary floor in Major League Baseball. I mean, what are we doing here? Oh yeah? Who would argue this? Of course there should be a salary floor in Major League Baseball. Are you kidding me? Some of these teams like Oakland and Tampa, yes, there should be a floor.
Yeah, I agree. This is an easy one. This is one of the less controversial GTFO or oh yeahs that we've had because I feel like these are all kind of layups, or at least how we align and thinking about them are, again, watching these loser teams cry poverty every year, even though they get a large percentage of the Major League Baseball TV rights monies kicked back to them, what the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Mets spend to make money on, teams like the Pirates and the Rays and the A's get that back. So yes, I agree with you. There should be a salary floor. Loser owners like the ones in Oakland, I don't even want to grace him by saying his name, shouldn't be able to benefit by putting together a horrible crap AAA roster every year and then still be considered a Major League Baseball team. So yes, oh yeah, there should be a salary floor.
Okay. GTFO or oh yeah, Josh Allen will throw more touchdowns than Tua this year. Pat, I want you to go first on this one.
I'm going to go GTFO. I'm going to go GTFO here, and that's not me endorsing Tua Tagovailoa in any stretch of the imagination here, but I look at last year where Tua, he's got Tyreek Hill, he's got Jalen Waddle, he led the NFL in passing yards last year. He did only throw 29 touchdowns. Only threw 29 touchdowns. Josh Allen actually had the same amount. They both had 29 touchdowns last year. But again, Stephon Diggs leaving Buffalo, although I do think Kincaid and Knox take a massive step forward with their roles within the offense. And hopefully Khalil Shakir can prove he's a number one wide receiver. Hopefully Keon Coleman is the stud that they're hoping him to be. But I know what I'm getting from Tua. I know what I'm getting from the Mike McDaniel offense and the Miami Dolphins offense. There's a minimum amount of touchdowns that Tua can throw. You know, again, these guys both stay healthy, both play 16 or 17 games. Tua's going to throw more touchdowns. So that's a GTFO that's a GTFO for me. Josh Allen is not going to throw more tuds than Tua.
Okay. It's GTFO for me too. No doubt about it.
Really?
Because Tua just has yeah.
I was thinking.
I'm sorry, I hate to. No, because I think Josh Allen is going to have a very workman-like, really strong year. I think a lot of people assume because Stephon Diggs is gone. But they're going to feast with those two tight ends. I think they'll do a good job. But ultimately, I think it's just going to be like Papa Shot with the Miami Dolphins offense. Doesn't make them a better team. I think people are sleeping on the Bills as a team. But come on, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill's just going to be airmailing it. You saw it last year. It was like pinball at times. Pinball, Papa Shot, invent your arcade game here. He will throw for more touchdowns. And how many is Josh Allen going to be a pig about in the red zone and run him in? You know what I mean?
Amir is saying, by the way, no faith in our number one fantasy pick at QB, shaking my head. That's who I took. I mean, Josh Allen's going to run in a ton. Right? He's going to run in a ton. And he's going to get all those rushing yards, which to me still makes him the number one fantasy option at quarterback.
Pat, now I'm going to get to this next question on GTFR. Oh, yeah. And maybe I deserve this. Maybe I deserve this for ragging on the producers as much as I do. But I'm going to read you the statement, and I'm going to reply with my statement, okay? And I don't mean to be a jerk. I promise I'm not being a jerk. Here is the statement for GTFO or oh, yeah. Mind you, I don't look at these ahead of time because I want to be surprised and give you a gut instant reaction. That's why. Jordan Childs shouldn't have her bronze medal stripped for a judge error. Here's my response to that. Who is Jordan Childs? What judge's error? What is that? I'm assuming this is an Olympic event. Is she a track runner? I don't know what you mean, Amir.
Bronze medal, and then you go, I'm assuming this is an Olympic event. Can you tell me it's not track? Can you guess what sport or what event, what athletic event, whatever she did compete in? Not track.
Okay, so it's something that would be controversy and it has to be judged, obviously. So it's not about a time error or anything. That's a good hint. Obviously swimming is done. I just told you time error. It's not track. Judge. I'm going to say one of these rinky-dink like gymnastic events that Simone Biles is not in.
Yep. Yeah, Jordan Childs, who was the third best gymnast on that team behind Simone Biles and Suni Lee.
Okay.
So, yeah, Jordan Childs initially came in third, got the bronze in the individual floor exercise, and you can – and I think I have this pretty much correct, so for the most part, with what happened. I think you can appeal the score within like a minute or two. Like it's almost like a challenge, like in the NFL or Major League Baseball. Right. But you have to do it within like a minute of getting the score. And they kind of challenged her score, and they appealed it, and then the judges were like, oh, you know what? Actually, she gets 0.1 more points. That moved her from fifth to third. That got her the bronze medal. And then the Olympic like arbitration court or whatever kind of has reviewed this in the last few days. And I guess they've determined that the Team USA did not appeal fast enough. So they took the 0.1 points back away. And she lost her bronze medal because she now finished fifth in the event. I don't know the freaking rules. I didn't see the replay. I didn't have the Hawkeye, whether or not Team USA appealed it fast enough or not. But I think we're running out of time. So I'm just going to say, she shouldn't have her bronze medal stripped.
All right. I'm going to back Pat on that. Samesies. Again, I apologize to Jordan Childs and her family. Great job at the Olympics. I never heard of you, but that's not your fault. That's my fault. I
Super hot.
wasn't
I
into
never
it.
heard of you.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, has Jordan Childs ever heard of me? I'm assuming not. Okay, I'm assuming not. GTFO or oh yeah, players should be fined or suspended for training camp fights. I saw the Giants and Lions were fined a ton. No, they shouldn't. They're out there in the hot it's GTFO. They're out there in the hot sun, begging to actually hit somebody, which have reduced hitting. Leave them alone. Let the coaches figure it out. Pat.
I agree, Shawnee. Why don't you go ahead and take us to break because we got best bets coming up, buddy.
Oh, do we? I can't hear any music, and I haven't been given a countdown. We're getting screwed here, left and right. Our best bets of the day come up to close out the show next. Sunday Scaries, Degeneration Bets, and a beef bet. Take care. We'll see you next segment.
BetQL 5-Star Weekend will be back on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM. Welcome back to BetQL 5-Star Weekend on the BetQL Network. Presented by BetMGM.
Again, a little grumpy for me. Giant fan, Giant backer, and Malik Neighbors has his left shoe off and has limped off the practice field. Clearly in discomfort, according to some. This is great. So just more fun times here. I can never have anything nice. Pat Boyle, it's been a fun show so far, pal. It really has. We've covered a lot. We did a lot of college football. Go back and check out hour number 1 of our show. Gave some thoughts to 5 teams we're most looking forward to. Second hour of the show, we gave you some home run plays for the day. And we drafted your top fantasy quarterbacks for the fantasy draft. I mean, we're just covering gambling in all aspects. Also, congrats, women's national team, Team USA, takes care of France 67-66. Shawnee put a little cash. How about this? Me, nobody's hated on the Olympics more than me. On the way out the door, I make sure to cash a little check with a live bet on Team USA. So good for me. Old hypocritical Shawnee. Now, we got some D-Gen bets, Boyle bets, Sunday scaries, and we only got a few more minutes to play with. So let's do it. Let's get to some D-Gen bets right now.
I might be a year older. I might be a little grayer. But at the end of the day, I'm still a degenerate.
All right. Earlier in the show, I asked Pat Boyle, hey, have you placed any NFL bets yet? And he said, oh, yeah. Had a couple rainy, driving rain situations, unders. I don't care what you guys call D-Gen. We've given away cricket bets. We've given away some wild stuff in this segment. NFL preseason bets are still degenerate because you don't know who's coming in the game when they're coming in the game. And I'm giving you one. I look for higher numbers than usual in preseason games, and I like to attack unders on them. 38.5 for Colts and Broncos later this afternoon, or about an hour and 15 minutes away, I believe, from starting, feels awfully high. And I know the game's going to be in a dome, so weather's not going to be a factor in Indianapolis. Who's playing what? Defenses are still ahead of the offenses. You oftentimes in the second half get really, really crappy offensive line play that disrupts and makes for the ugliest. I mean, second halves of preseason games are so ugly because the O-line play is so bad. So, for me, I'm going under 38.5 here. Broncos and Colts as my D-Gen bet to start it off, Pat. I'm going to take a couple of my winnings here on Team USA and throw it there. What do you got?
Yeah, you know what? I don't like either of these in terms of a total. I can understand the under on the Broncos Colts, but I see the Broncos and I see Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham both playing like at least a solid quarter. I don't think Anthony Richardson's playing at all for Indianapolis, right? I mean, you would think trying to get some of this NFL preseason news is actually easier than it is. Some of these coaches, like, just tell us. It's the freaking preseason.
Right.
Like, I love Antonio Pierce. He goes, yeah, Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, both going to play a legit quarter. Bang. Knew that. I was like, all right, I'm probably not going to touch the Vikings-Raiders under, and sure enough, it goes to 47. So I just don't love either of these unders today. I'd rather wait for week 2 and reassess when we get a full slate of, 16 games. So, you know me. I'm the tennis guy. Not degenerate for me, but degenerate maybe for some people here. I got 2 tennis bets for you today. We had rain for like 2 solid days at the Masters tournament up in Montreal. Now, Masters 1000 is the second highest tier of tournament. So it's right underneath what a major is, what a Grand Slam. But you got another Masters tournament starting tomorrow in Cincinnati that has kind of similar conditions to what we're going to see at the U.S. Open. And then you had 2 straight days suspended by rain. So now you had guys that played 2 matches yesterday. Some are going to play 2 matches today. You got the semifinals, 1 semifinal set, 2 quarterfinals are going to play, then that second semifinal. I just think with all that kind of weirdness and the schedule making, there are some things that we can exploit here. So I got 2 totals for you. And one is I'm going to take an under. I'm going to take under 25.5 games with Hubie Hurkacz and Alexei Popyrin, which is dangerous. Dangerous for Hubie Hurkacz, Sean. If you don't know, he's basically the best server on tour, and the guy plays tie breaks like they're going out of style. So the max you can play in a set is.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Because when I went to my app right now, I want to bet with you. I'm seeing Guillaume Monfils versus Alexei Popyrin tomorrow in Cincinnati.
So that is the scheduled match for Cincinnati since they released the draw. Popperin's probably not going to play Cincinnati, or they're going to move that match back since Montreal.
Oh, so where is this?
So if you go to all tournaments under BetMGM and you go to ATP Montreal,
Okay.
you'll be able to find it. The total for Hurkacz and Popperin is 25.5. Now that means,
Okay.
like, again, a tiebreak is 7-6, 13 games. If they play 7-6, 7-6, we're going to lose. And if it goes 3 sets, we're probably going to lose as well. But I'm going to go ahead and bank that Hurkacz, who just had surgery a month ago, and a doctor's recommendation was, hey, you should probably skip the rest of the season, which is another 4 months. The guy comes back a month later. He's looked good so far. He's gotten to the quarterfinals. He played 2 3-setters yesterday. What are the chances? I'm going to go ahead and bank on that Hurkacz doesn't want to play 3 sets again, that he's going to do everything in his power either to win this in 2, or if he loses the first set cheaply, he's going to say, you know what, screw it. I don't want to get hurt again. I did enough, and he's almost kind of tanked the match. Yes, kind of, not really. I mean, it happens more often than you would think in tennis, where guys kind of basically say, all right, screw it, I'll move on to next week. Hurkacz just played 2 3-setters yesterday, was on the court for over 4.5 hours. Now he's got to come back again today and play a quarterfinal. And if he wins, he's got to play again later tonight. So I don't think his body's ready to all of a sudden a month later spring back and play all this tennis, even as good of a server as he is. Same thing with Popperin. He's a big Australian guy. He's got a big serve, kind of sucks at breaking. So yeah, like any other normal circumstance, I would say this is a good number. Like it's a sharp one. You probably shouldn't touch it. But considering the facts here, I'm going with the under, that one of these guys wins this match 2-0. Whether it's Hurkacz, who just says, you know what, I'm going to have to go all out and try to hit every single line on every serve, and he wins it. Or if he loses the first set 6-4, whatever, and he just says, you know what, screw it, I don't want to risk getting hurt. I was told I should skip the rest of the season. Here I am a month later, and I'm playing my 3rd match in 2 days. So I'm going under 25.5, Hurkacz, Popperin. One that I like the over with is the other quarterfinal that's going to get played, and that's Sebastian Korda and Sasha Zverev. I'm going over 22.5 on this one. I'm a little stunned it's 22.5. Now, the conditions in Montreal, it's a slower court, so it's not, I think it's not necessarily just conducive to playing a lot of high sets, which is another reason I like the under for Hurkacz and Popperin. But I look at Zverev, who's great, who's a top 5 player, and I look at Korda, who really hasn't played much this week, and he won the tournament in D.C. last week. He's been serving out of his mind. So I think he keeps this one close, and I think you get a decent amount of games in this one. 3 sets obviously cashes it, but I still think this could be a 7-6, 6-4, a 7-6, 7-5, where both these guys serve very, very well. So I'm going the over on Korda and Zverev. I'm taking the under on Hurkacz and Popperin. 2 patty tennis bets for you. There you go, Shawnee.
All right, we got a couple minutes, so let's rip through the Sunday Scaries and the Beef Bet quick. Here's Sunday Scaries.
The weekend is almost over, but there's still time to place just one more bet. Don't panic. There's still time to win it all back. It's time for the Sunday Scaries.
As quick as I could do this, 5 legs, 23-1. Heaney, Stroman, who was stunk of late. Yankees, Rangers in the Bronx. Beautiful day. Over 9.5 runs for me. I gave this in my ding bet. Aaron Judge hasn't hit a homer in 8 days. I have him to homer. Leg number 2. So 2 legs, same game. Been a wacky, fun series, Boston and Houston. Yordan Alvarez, 2 or more total bases versus the Bo Sox today. I'm also going to go in Coors Field in a Freeland-Schwellenbach match, over 10.5 runs. Braves and Rockies today, over 10.5 runs. And with Tyler Glass now on the hill, on the bump for the Dodgers, as they take on the Pirates today, I'm going under 8.5 runs in Pirates-Dodgers. And under in Pirates-Dodgers, and over in Braves-Rockies, and over in Yankees-Rangers, Judge to homer, Yordan Alvarez, 2 or more total bases, 5 legs, 23-1. Pat, to you.
Bang. Yeah, beef bet. And it's one of the legs that you've got in your Sunday Scary. So I'll go ahead and make this quick, and then we can riff on life and love and anything else you want to talk about in the final minute, Sean. I'm pretty angry that this isn't even double digits, this Yankees and Rangers game. Boyle's beef bet. I got beef with the over-under total at Yankee Stadium today. It's Boyle's beef bet.
Pat Boyle's Beef Bet of the Week. I'm angry. I'm ready. I need to bet. It's Pat Boyle's Beef Bet of the Week on the Bet.
Yeah, Marcus Stroman has been god-awful for the last 2 months, and he, basically, I think, cried to ask manager Aaron Boone to move his start back. They had to push his start back because he's been sucking so badly, and he needed to watch extra tape on his mechanics and have another bullpen. That's not going to stop the fact that he's had a 6.32 ERA over his last 10 starts. He's gotten shelled his last 2 times. So I don't think really much of anything is going to change for Marcus Stroman. I think he gets knocked around today. But then also Andrew Heaney. Look, I know the ERA is 3.98, but Andrew Heaney sucks, right? Andrew Heaney flat out stinks. He's a bona fide scrub, to quote Stephen A. Smith. Nothing personal. That's just the fact of the matter. So I think the Yankees offense has a field day with him today. And you've had a couple of high-scoring games in that doubleheader yesterday, or at least the Yankees put up 8 runs in Game 1. The Rangers put up 9 runs in Game 2 in the doubleheader they played yesterday. So I think both of these teams at least get to 5 runs. I think this overcashes easily. I think we're looking at maybe a 7-5, 8-6 bullpen kind of game here. Stroman and Heaney, a couple of stiffs on a Sunday rubber game in the afternoon where the ball should be moving pretty well in a hitter's-friendly ballpark at Yankee Stadium. Over 9.5 for me.
I love it. I actually just placed that bet. Patty, I bet you first under. How about this? A little parlay I put together. You ready? Under 25.5 total games, Popperin versus Hercox, right? That's how you say his name?
Hercox, but
okay.
Yes, it's close.
Judge to homer and Rooker to homer. I'm getting 27-1 odds on those 3 legs. So I'm giving you 2 of my dingbat plays plus an under from Boyle. I'm betting tennis, okay? Can you tell I'm ready for football season? I'm betting tennis.
Well, Shawnee,
right, thank you to Dan.
2 weeks away.
Yeah.
We're 2 weeks away from the U.S. Open.
Oh, man, and it's open to everybody. Thank you to Dan. Thank you to Amir. Thank you to Kenny. Thank you to Pat. Pat yourself on the back. And let's go Boyle and be royal and watch the Mariners on Sunday Night Baseball in Seattle for the first time in 20 years. I'm off to get baby shower gifts and hopefully hit the pool and hopefully hit some bets with no regrets. Just love. We will see everybody next week on BetQL's 5-Star Weekend, the last before Week 0. Take care, everyone.
You've been listening to the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM. If you missed any of the shows, listen back anytime on the new and improved Odyssey app.